God to the ancient pagans worshipped, they attributed their creation to gods of stone or iron or wood, whatever. We've found a more insulting God of all. We attribute it all to randomness. God wasn't even necessary. God is offended by not being worshipped, by putting our worship to his false God. But what's even more insulting is to deny that one is even necessary. Anyway, our simplest set, it's more complex in the evolution. It involves the simplest cell is an entire city with garbage disposal facilities, manufacturing plants, input output controls. It's a
Decaffeinated coffee.
But anyway,
We've had a seat for an hour again. We were going to stream and play Harry Potter, so it's that hour's kip. It makes me takes away my motivation a bit on the wanting to play a game. Because obviously I'm not playing a game at the moment that I'm super fantastically interested in. I'm not vibing it. Do you know what I mean? And the only way I can explain it is vibing it. I'm excited about getting on my stream more. I'm never going to be excited by a game again without streaming. Because there's a because I used to play competitively. I wasn't the best player in the world, but I enjoyed the fact that if I kept grinding and I kept practicing certain parts of my game, or I figured out some tactics, that you could actually beat somebody who beat you 2 weeks before with a bit of practice. I like that. Not all the time though, because obviously I had a confidence issue. So sometimes you just get nervous. It just ruins your entire game. But if you practice, you can end up. That's why I always class myself as a top 10% player. Without my nerves, whatever you want to call it, I'd have been a top 5% player. So, where's my glasses? Move me washing machine into the car.
Intrinsically self-replicating copy itself without error. And that itself is an interesting design feature. It's intrinsically self-replicating. These 3 out of 4 codes will specify any of the 20 amino acids you can need for the proteins, plus leave some over for punctuation. You have start controls, stop controls, that kind of thing. So you have an alphabet designed here that is operative. And your messenger RNA, of course, needs to be translated into proteins. So there are machines that emerge out of all of this will transfer the RNA, and what it does, it will read that code and decode it. And as it moves along, it knows from the coding what protein it's talking about, and it strings those along to create a protein chain. And
Let down since 7 o'clock, not wanting to come on. It's like a little bit groggy, comfortable. I'm quite achy in my arms and that. So when you're let down and you're kind of like cozy, didn't want to get up because I knew it'd ache. In your eyes, in your eyes, in your eyes, Egyptian blue. In your eyes, Egyptian blue. My nose is so blocked. You give me chills in 100 degrees. It's my webcam. Right, I've moved my webcam now moves again. You don't understand that, but it wasn't moving. I had it trapped. Now I've got a moving webcam, so I want to do this other thing. I can possibly do it. I'm not vibing it at the moment. With my sleep, I've ruined my diet a little bit. Not that I care about my diet. It's not a strict. What was the right word? It's not a punishment thing. Let's say when I first tried to quit smoking and I felt like I was going to die if I didn't do it. 21 days I had a cigarette and I fucking hated myself. It was like the end of the world. And it didn't fix my urge. My urge was actually anxiety. Then I realized, oh, right. This feeling I've got inside of me is not the cigarette. I think in a way it helped me bolster my attempt of not smoking the next time. Giving me chills in 100 degrees.
you.
Reality.
Real you is eternal, whether you like it or not.
Chills.
Are you qualified to perfect? Yeah.
Growth. Let's have some growth, baby. Let's have some views. Come on, people. Give us some views. Give us some views. We're gonna be making some money on this YouTube channel. We're making some money on my other YouTube channel. We're gonna make me some money on my Twitch channel, and then I will edit and upload content to make more money. It's about time I start making money out of this, don't you think? Universe? I do. Let's bring it on, baby. Otherwise, I'm going van life. I won't even call it van life. I'm gonna get a house on wheels because I'm gonna need a house on wheels because I'm not standing still with the shit I've been through anymore. Got to do something. It's a different life to other people got. At the moment, I'm living the same life as anybody else. You know, there's not much difference. And with the experiences I've had in the last 15 years, I should be living such an joyous life, which has not been joyous due to a group of people. Let's just say that people, loosely termed. So
These present pleasures are at our rights. We have here quite distinctive spiritual exercise, different from the constant vigilance of the Stoic, with his constant readiness to safeguard his moral liberty at each instant. Instead, Epicureanism preaches the deliberate, continually renewed choice of relaxation and serenity, combined with a profound gratitude toward nature and life, which constantly offers joy and pleasure if only we know how to find them. For the Epicureans, in the last analysis, pleasure is a spiritual exercise. Pleasure in the form of mere sensual gratification.
move forward. I am moving forward. I'm here waiting for some views. Once I get my views, we start making money, baby. Let's go. Otherwise, I'm getting a van and I'm going Dee Dee, as they say. Dee. Let's Dee. Let's Dee. That one. Probably know when I listen to it. I'm very bad with song titles. I won't start playing a song I know. Overcome, don't want it. Don't need it.
Philosophy can be summarized in the following fourfold remedy. The gods are not to be feared. Death is not to be dreaded. What is good is easy to acquire.
Turn it down twice.
Is easy.
Still hear it. 999 views, man. Should I give it 1,000? Go on, give it 1,000. I give you 1,000. Fuck. Pause. Get over. Go back in. Where's it gone? Go back in. What the fuck? Fast forward. Come back. Shit. 2 X's? I've only got one.
It's specific attitude toward time to live in the present, letting ourselves be neither troubled by the past nor worried about the uncertainty of the future. Each instant has an infinite value. This one is just as perfect and complete
Idiots, man.
as it is throughout an eternity. Our happiness is urgent, for the future is
oh, stay away. I'm gonna need a dragon fireplace in my home. That's pretty cool, I must admit. Don't fuck with dragons. Telling you, man. How to construct planetary magic squares and related sigils. Sigils, I think it's called. Sigils. I used to say sigils. Now I know it's a sigil. So is, what was it? What was that thing I was looking at the other day? That was sigils as well. Something you wouldn't expect to be a sigil, but it was a sigil. So it's there. It's everywhere. You just don't know it's there. No boards, no problem. Old school plastering. I wanted to learn how to do that, and I got fucked over. I was going to learn how to do that. Then that would work with my plumbing, that would work with my electrics, and that would work with my kitchen fitting, and that would work with my tiling. And I can paint as well. So I'm not an expert, but I can definitely paint pretty good. Do you know what I mean? Well, obviously, I wouldn't be very good straight away because I haven't done it for 15 years. But you give me 2 weeks, not even that, probably a week and a half of painting again, and My confidence to be back. Skating's a bit of a kind of like, obviously, painters can paint faster than me, same as a plasterer or a bricklayer. I can lay a block. I'm not saying I'm amazing, but I can lay a block. But corners, I would need to work on my corners to be faster at doing a corner. Learn the layout. Everything just takes practice. Everything's a game. End of the day, everything is a freaking game, people. Everything is a game. Toxic coaching. Push W. Lol. I won't say it's toxic. Somebody called me toxic coach once. But I am not toxic. I am teaching them what to do. And you cannot teach somebody in an FPS game. At the end of the day, you've got to look bad to get them to become good. Because if you don't look bad when you're coaching them, you're not pushing them. And the game, when you play a game, it's quite aggressive. Players are aggressive to you. The way they push is aggressive. You have to be aggressive. Therefore, as a coach, you have to have some aggression when you're teaching them. Do you know what I mean? You can't rub their belly because they ain't going to get any better. It's not about looking good. It's about coaching them. Do you know what I mean? So I did get called toxic coach a couple of times, but you don't understand. You know what I mean? It's as simple. I can't teach you Z if you still haven't got A. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't teach them what I wanted to teach them because it's pointless without the foundations there. They're just not going to implement what they need. They want to play like you in some way. Not that I'm amazing, but they want to play like you, but they don't want to change their buttons. And 50% of my game is my buttons changes. You know what I mean? It's not because I can press a button faster than you or I can play claw. It's because my button's easier to press than yours is because I change my buttons. So I'm struggling at the moment trying to use that mouse keyboard thing. No, what is it? Controller stick stroke keyboard thing plus the mouse. I'm struggling to get the stick to work on all the games. Once I got it working on all the games, then I'll work on setting the buttons up on the keyboard. Which do I need? Obviously, I need a crouch button. I need a jump button. They're important. I need standard buttons like pick up, which I've already got on the mouse. Standard buttons. What else do you use in a game? Might need a sprint button. Maybe the analog stick button can be the sprint button. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I'm not in a rush to do it because it doesn't excite me anymore. I waste way too much energy on that game, that diseased game, that Narcs game. Fuck it, I'm just going to say it. It's a Narcs game. That's what it was designed to be. You can't have a planet filled with dickheads unless they're being trained to be dickheads. Do you get what I mean? It's not possible. It doesn't just happen. It's not random. A child does not determine itself to grow into a dickhead. Something has to mold it. There'll be maybe one. What's the percentage of fucking psychopaths to normal people in the world, Let's ask fucking ChatGTP. It's really low amount, people. It's like one sociopath in 1,000, is it, or something? Ratio ESYC. I get it wrong. Per 1,000. So look, ration. Well, they might get it right. They'll get it right. Fucked it up again. Go on, ChatGTP. You're supposed to be smart. In general population, about 1 in 100 show psychopathic traits. That means 10% of 1,000. 1 in 100. 10% of 1,000 individuals in prisons, and the rate is much higher, with an estimate of around 15 to 25% inmates meeting psychopathy criteria. Among corporate leaders, some suggest, well, that just makes no sense. Among corporate leaders, some studies suggest 3 to 4% may have psychopathic traits. That's traits, though. It's not psychopath. I can have some psychopathic traits, I expect. Driving fast, thinking it's funny. Do you know what I mean? What would that be classed as? Fucking idiot. That's what that'd be classed as. So what was it? 1% in 100 or 10% in 1,000? That means 10. It's not 10% then, is it? It's 1%. 1%. 1%. There you go. I can guarantee you that without anal dads, anal mums, anal aunties, anal uncles, anal grannies, anal grandpies, and without anal movies and anal music, this could be slashed in half. Like that. Slashed in half like that. I don't think you can stop anything. Somebody's going to have parts of their brain missing, which is going to affect their empathy and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? But this could be slashed in half. That's 50%, people. That's amazing. And what would it take? It would take, let's stop letting kids watch shit. Let's stop letting them listen to shit. Right? And let's, the parent thing would take, I would say, 2 generations to change that mentality. For people to understand, like, you're not broken, you've been molded wrong. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with you. You just got built wrong. Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't your fault. You know, once you get that, that take a couple of generations to get people to believe in that and see the differences. But it would take somebody to go out there and do the stats and all that and show the shit. You know what I mean? Simple. Real police forces and things like that, like where they actually go after criminals. Do you know what I mean? Let's get fucking nutters out. You know, let's get this world. I don't know if this world could ever be like, what do they call it? Like Harry Krishna. Forgive me if that's offensive. But I think it can be 50% of that. I think people can understand vibration. I understand it now. I understand when I have a blowout, that's not good. I'm putting negative energy out there. I understand that. I still have a blowout, but I understand that. That means I am reducing my blowouts. Like, I have got angry once in the last, I don't know, 10 years. And that was in here. I'm not talking about game rage. That's not nothing, you know. It's just a venting on lagging game. Take me lag away, and I ain't raging because there's no reason to rage. Because why would I rage? I'm usually pretty good at a game. I'm usually don't give up in a game. I usually in the right place. Well, it comes down to being good at a game, but not a lot of people are in the right places at the right times, doing the right things at the right times. You know what I mean? There aren't many people that aren't. You're talking a percent. You know, 2% players do that. That doesn't mean that I'm the best player in the world. It just means that when it comes to that sort of stuff, my ego does not care. I'm like, I don't care about my ego. I must do the right thing at the right time as best as I can at my possibilities. See, Ragtag used to play Apex. He was a bit like me. Like, did teamwork, didn't want to rage at anybody, got raged at a lot. And eventually I just said, fuck it. I just started raging at them. Something happened in my real life. So I said, fuck it. Why should I do it? These are blatantly narcs that I'm being attacked by in the game. Do you know what I mean? And I'm getting that in the real world. So I thought, fuck it. I'll start giving them shit back now. I'm not going to bite my tongue anymore. But he didn't do that. He sat there and just kept his mouth shut. But he wasn't getting this in the real world. So he was only getting this on the game. If you knew what his content was like, and you seen the bullies that he had in his teams, and the nasty people in his the vileness coming out of their mouth, it's exactly what I was getting. Except for he didn't argue back. I ended up arguing back. There's no offense. The Apex player base that I was getting, 99.9.5% of them were dreadful. They were terrible players, and the way they were talking down to you and the way they were saying that you were the bad player, and they're the ones shooting the guns without even communicating, and then you got three people shooting at you and you didn't know they were there because your teammate didn't communicate or he didn't even fucking ping. Do you know what I mean? These are the dickheads having a go at you. So I didn't take that shit. Do you know what I mean? I'll give it back eventually. Look at him, look, 493,000. He's not even that great of a player. You know what I mean? He's just a nice guy, got a nice channel, and he didn't get lagged out. Didn't get lagged out, did you, Rag? But you weren't moaning, were you? Were you, Rag? You weren't talking the stuff that I was talking, were you, Rag? Your channel grew, didn't you? I never ever was jealous of him. That is, he wasn't being lagged out. I watched his gameplay so many times. He's not getting lagged out. He's not getting lagged out. He's letting his channel grow. I'm there saying narc works, narc, 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 narc. My channel ain't growing. He's not rocking the boat. I was rocking the boat. I might play this. I need something newish. It's kind of current, but I don't like this stuff. I don't like this. What's it called? I call it hip firing. That's why you need a mouse. When you're going to hip fire, this is called hip firing. You're not ADSing. On controller, that's not great. But on mouse, it's like, it's better. I don't like all this over the top cartooniness. I don't like that. It's not third person. There's no ADS. It feels lazy. I don't like it, you know? But it is current. It is free. And I do need to start trying to set my controller up and my keyboard together in one. And playing that will allow me to set it up because it's a current game. I could maybe get some views with this game. Do you know what I mean? But I don't want to play the game. It's not me. Do you know what I mean? I wish I was a gamer because I could just play any game. Doesn't matter what game comes out. I just move to it. I'm not like that. I find it I find that it's a bit like TV. When you're watching something, you didn't quite finish watching it, and then you flip to another channel. I find, cause to me, gaming, I don't know what it is. Gaming to me feels like some sort of productivity is going on. But the way people play games, it's like channel hopping. Do you know what I mean? I think you're just a couch potato a bit, you know? Unless you're putting intent into your games and you're learning every day, I think it is a bit like couch potatoing. I don't know how you could say that. Gamer potatoes. Potato gaming. Couch potatoes. Potato gamer. Couch. Gaming potatoes. Fuck this. Mike's not on, is it? I'm not really with it. Whoever just messaged, you're gonna have to do one more, otherwise I probably won't see it.
horrible grey worm is a toxicity which is only a second of existence. The body, which he realized, as Jung puts it, can once again be felt. It seems that for this, one could say that all material phenomena, including our body, lie below a
We should have a viewer.
the unconscious, however, is not bound to matter and space-time, and therefore there is no reason that it should be affected by death. During the day, Jung felt depressed. In the night, however, he had profound visions, of which he writes. It is impossible to convey the beauty and intensity of emotion during those visions. We shy away from the word eternal, and I can describe the experience only as the ecstasy of a non-temporal state in which present, past, and future are one. Everything that happens in time had been brought together into a complete whole. The only thing that feeling could grasp would be a sun, an iridescent whole, containing all at once expectation of the beginning, surprise at what is now happening, and satisfaction or disappointment with the result of what has happened. One is interwoven into an indescribable whole, and yet observes it with complete objectivity. In many accounts of NDEs, the survivor's everyday ego is confronted with a voice or with an inner friend who would be interpreted as a personification of what Jung calls the self, the total personality. In some instances, the ego also seems to merge partially with this image of the self. Moody cites the case of a man in a deep coma who met with a being of light, a hand reaching out to him, invited him to come along so that he himself floated along, and then moved with the light being in the hospital room. The man says, now, immediately, when I joined him, I had become a spirit myself. In a way, we had been fused into one. We weren't two separate ones, two, of course. Yet he had full control of everything that was going on as far as I was concerned. An instant association between ego and self is described here, but not a complete merging of the two. In another report, the everyday ego is so greatly altered that it closely resembles the self. My new ego was no longer the old familiar ego, but rather a supplement of it, as it were, even if it did seem to me somehow familiar, like something I had always known, but which had been deeply buried under a superstructure of fears, hopes, wishes, and desires. This ego had nothing to do with the ego of this world. It was his spirit, absolute, unchangeable, indivisible, indestructible. Although absolutely unique, as individual as a fingerprint, it was at the same time part of an infinite, well-ordered whole. The two aspects, ego and self, are almost completely united here, but the ego remains part of a large whole, it is not the whole itself. Another of Moody's patients had a heart attack and described seeing himself as a little sphere on the inside of a round ball. It is just this relation between ego and self which Jungian psychology attempts to establish in every person during his or her lifetime. Through the process of individuation, the journey towards wholeness, or if the ever identifies with the self and it suffers condensation, if it goes too far from the self, then life is meaningless. A small number of the 2,500 dreams compiled by von France are death dreams, which are not just dreams surrounding the archetype of death, but dreams of people who subsequently died. Therefore, they
How'd you get 300 views since?
nature can anticipate the death of someone. These are the types of dreams the book deals with. In death dreams, the end of physical life is represented in a symbolic way, but almost always accompanied by manifestations that allude to the continuation of the person's life. A psychologist should not begin by telling a patient facing death, you have to believe in an afterlife, but simply emphasize the individual's dream and what the dream means for him or her, for the patient to believe in it or not. The voice of nature or instinct, which is the dream, helps one to die in peace and in harmony with oneself, moving right into one's death. This is a great advantage, since one does not continue to fight with oneself. One is no stranger to oneself. That is why, generally speaking, interpreting the dreams of those who are moving towards death gives them great consolation and calms them down. A skeptic might insist that dreams are merely wish fulfillments, against which the following can be said. It is not at all consistent with general experience that dreams only reflect unconscious wishes. On the contrary, they most often depict a completely objective psychic natural event, uninfluenced by the wishes of the ego. In cases where the dreamer has illusions about the approaching death or is not aware of its proximity, dreams arise that show it with total brutality and without compassion. It is as if the unconscious wants to convey an urgent
It's fucking.
message to
That's
the
chair. The fuck is this bit here?
such as the case
Snapped, yeah, but where the fuck's the rest of it?
watch was damaged. She brought it to the watchmaker, who told her that it would be on repair. 2 days later, she dreamed that her favorite tree fell down to the ground. It was all too clear for her what the dreams meant. It was a terrible shock for her, but she had accepted her fate. After the
Do I know this guy?
she continued to dream normally and lived for many more years.
I know.
Thus, we must make an important distinction.
Oh, that's the guy that really moves well. Is that the one?
Death is imminent. There are death dreams that typically
It's elite, but does it work against high level opponents? I don't know.
and can be interpreted as an event of warning, meditation, or mortality. Whether that person would get his salutary shot.
It's like Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk. Amazing, amazing. Really exciting to watch these fighters, especially Tyson Fury. But what will they have been like with Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis and George Foreman and trying to think, uh, Evander Holyfield and
Death means actual death, and another means only the probable death. Sometimes one gets a gruesome shiver when people tell one a dream about death, as if one's nervous sympathetic system would say, "Watch out, this really means death." One of France's old colleagues had a very severe illness and had a dream that said, "You can go on living if you want." He made a great effort and he was
fucking trap for that. It's fucking bent.
other times the dream says,
Is this fucking level bent? Look at it, look at it. It's fucking pissed.
"Seems." One of the functions of dreams is a preparation for some approaching phase or threshold in life. Death is a threshold to which the unconscious wants to prepare us. While people of all ages can dream of death, they are more frequent in the second half of life. This is because during midlife, when most people have reached the top of their external life, physically, biologically, and sociologically, the psyche starts a natural preparation process towards death in order to attain inner maturation. This shows that death is not something that happens at the end of our life. It's an opus magnum, a great work, and the effort that we make, the conscious realization, is completely essential. We can thus say that, since midlife, we are starting to live towards this eternalization. In some cases, death dreams can appear at a young age. In Man and His Symbols, Jung writes about a case in which he was approached by a psychiatrist who had received a booklet of a series of 12 dreams
I want one, thanks. See ya.
by his 10-year-old daughter, written when she was 8. Were some of the weirdest
I love you
dreams
too.
Jung has seen, 9 of which centered on the archetypal themes
Whatever.
of destruction and
Things
restoration.
upside down. What the
The
fuck?
dreams one would expect in an aging person
Oh
who
my
is approaching
gosh.
death. They were confirmed to be death
Is it alright or not?
as 1 year later she died on Christmas of an infectious disease. There are also cases in which someone dreams about the death of some other person, usually one that is close to him or her. A colleague of Jung's was suffering from a deadly gangrenous fever. A former patient of his, who had no knowledge of the nature of his doctor's illness, dreamed that the doctor died in a great fire. At that time, the doctor had just entered a hospital and the disease was only beginning. 3 weeks later, he died. Just before Jung's death, his friend Lawrence van Post was on a voyage from Africa to Europe, had a dream of Jung waving and calling out, "I'll be seeing you." On that very day, nature joined the event and lightning struck Jung's favorite tree in the garden. This spectacle of old age would be unendurable did we not know that our psyche reaches into a region not captive neither by change and
Where's it? Is that a wind flip?
birth is a death, and our death is a birth. the scales of the whole and narrows. It is very important for the unconscious.
I think that's a nice butt then. That was a girl. Well, a woman.
Birth of one's soul substance, the self, the great work which is the completion of one's inner wholeness. The realization of the self means a restoration of one's relation to God. In the most vital moment of self-realization, God unites, as it were, with us. This would mean that through the realization of the self, we assist at the same time in God's incarnation, God's completeness. Self-knowledge is a reunion of the soul with God. The state of wholeness is inseparable from the experience of God. Individuation, the process of psychic and spiritual growth, is actually a preparation for death, the most essential transformation of our whole being. It is as if it were the goal and sole purpose of our lives, and all that is important to the unconscious. As such, individuation is much more important than death itself. This may explain why people who have the feeling that they have completed their life's task do not fear death, for they have done their best to attain wholeness. In the final stage of individuation, we finally become our uniqueness or essence, and also, paradoxically, one with all other souls. The symbols that manifest in death dreams
Listen, that don't sound good.
individuation process manifests itself abruptly before death if it had not been consciously experienced up to that moment. Hornfrost noted that it sometimes happened that in dreams, actual dead people came to visit the still living person. This special category of dreams as metapsychic or otherworldly dreams, which usually have an intense emotional impact on the dreamer and are characterized furthermore by a unique, indescribable feeling, a touch of eternity. Society dreams, the dead person is interpreted on the objective level. Therefore, some dreams deal
Why is her skirt so short?
image that is within the personal unconscious.
It's fucking short as fuck. It doesn't sit correctly either.
One generally attributes these dreams to a mother complex or a father complex, and rarely take into account the objective death. These objective dreams are more frequent in the first weeks or months after the event of death, though they can appear years later too. 6 weeks after Yung's father had died, he appeared to him in a dream, saying that he had made a good recovery and was now coming home. 2 days later, the dream was repeated. This was an unforgettable experience, but forced Jung to think for the first time about life after death. Jung had several dreams of his late wife. In one of them, she was continuing to work on the Grail legend, which she had left unfinished when she died. Jung also reports that it was told in dreams that the dead were eager to learn from the newcomers from Earth what they brought over to them, as if they had no direct information of what was happening on Earth. Hornfrost also experienced metapsychic dreams. 3 weeks after the death of her father, she dreamt that her father visited her and she asked him how he was doing and if he was happy. He replied that he was happy and studying at the music academy. Then he went into the guest room instead of his former bedroom, for he said, "Now I'm only a guest." Hornfrost then thought she had forgotten to put out the electric stove and that there was a danger of fire. At that moment, she woke up, feeling terribly hot and sweating. Jung interpreted this dream on the objective.
The fuck is that?
That it
Foldable
was
boat.
concerning her
Oh, look at that.
He
Let's have a
liked
look.
to say
Go on,
that
get out then.
affect this gift.
It's not foldable. It's fucking in pieces. For fuck's sake, you lying bastards. Fucking joke.
Which produces a strong physical counter-reaction as a defense against the chill of death. This coldness may be accounted by the fact that apparitions take energy away from the living in order to make themselves visible. It is reported that witnesses who touch phantoms receive a kind of electrical vibration. At any rate, it is emphasized that the world of the living and the world of the dead should not come too close to each other, for they are somehow dangerous for each other. Metapsychic dreams seem to indicate that what we take with us into the beyond is whatever substance of the self we have extracted from the unconscious and integrated into a whole being. It would mean that the more we become conscious of the self in our lifetime, the less we might have to go through it upon death, and who knows, perhaps even after death. Aiming of maximum consciousness and psychic wholeness while still in this world seems to be an essential condition for the coming life in the beyond. Now turn to some cases of death dreams and explore their archetypal motifs. 52-year-old man had to go to the hospital for an operation of bladder cancer. He was uncertain and worried about the outcome. He dreamed that an ambulance came to take him to the hospital. In reality, he was still well enough to be able to go by taxi. The driver got out of the ambulance and, with a single grin, opened the back door, and there lay a white coffin. The man woke up with a terrible shock. In fact, he did not leave the hospital alive, but died there after several weeks of great suffering. However, as soon as he accepted the bitter fact that the operation would not help, he began to have dreams about life after death. He dreamed that he was going through a forest in winter. It was cold and misty. He shivered. From a distance, he could hear the noise of a chainsaw, and from time to time, the thundering crash of a big tree falling to the ground. Suddenly, the scene changed, and it was summertime. The sun shone through the leaves, making a speckled sign of light on the green moss on the ground. The dreamer's father, who in reality had died long before, walked toward him and said, "Look, here is forest again. Don't pay any attention to what happens further down there." He meant the fall of the trees in the lower forest. The cutting down of trees probably alludes to the brutal operation that the dreamer was going to have, and which did not save his life. The same dream, however, continues on a higher level, where there is light once again. In that place, the dead continue to live. The dead father advises his son not to worry about what is happening down there. The unconscious wants to detach the dreamer psychically from the physical terminal event. It is not
What the fuck?
Hogwarts, where they try to describe the destruction of the mortal body. Vegetation is a form of life that directly grows out and feeds on organic and inorganic matter. This is an image that the unconscious often uses about death, as if to say the disappearance of a person in death is not total. There's something that remains underground, and from there life returns. Plants disappear during autumn and then grow back from the roots in the spring again. A man in his 40s visited from France for a single consultation. He had received a terminal medical diagnosis and could not accept it. The night after he received his diagnosis, he dreamed the following. On a green, half high, not yet ripe wheat field, a herd of cattle had broken into the field and trampled down and destroyed everything in it. Then a voice from above called out, "Everything seems to be destroyed, but from the roots under the earth will grow again." In this dream, one farm saw a hint that life somehow continues after death, but the dreamer did not want to accept this interpretation. He was an atheist materialist and did not believe in an afterlife. Shortly afterward, he died without having become reconciled with his fate. This dream reminds us of John 12:24. Truly, truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. Death is often represented as an old man with a sickle or scythe, the instrument of the harvest god Saturn, who reaps the corn, and man is like the wheat he cuts down. The Egyptian god Osiris, with whom every person became identical to after death, was simply called wheat. The grain which is put in the ground is the dead Osiris, and the grain which has germinated is the Osiris who has once again renewed his life. The Egyptian paradise is the field of wheat,
Some warm.
the fertile land where wheat and barley grow much higher than in our world. Egyptians would put wheat grains and flour bulbs inside the mummy bandages or in a container near the dead body and pour water over them. If they germinated, it was taken as a sign of the completed resurrection. It is a widely spread archetypal concept that the dead, like vegetation, come back to life. Vegetation represents the psychic mystery of death and resurrection. For this reason, the image of vegetation appears repeatedly in the dreams of terminally ill people. Flowers, too, are a widespread archetypal image for life after death, or for the eternal within us. The mandala structure of the flower points to the self. Buddha, the enlightened one, not only sits on a lotus, but also in a lotus position. A patient and friend of France had the following vision during active imagination before she died. The mystery of the flower is within me. I am it, and it is me. It has entered me and has been transformed into a human being. I am this radiant flower from which a spring has burst forth. Am I this? From now on, when I go to the flower, I know that I go into myself. I look at the flower. As I meditate on it, I am transformed into a flower, fully rooted, radiantly eternal. Thus I take the shape of eternity. This makes me quite whole. As flower, as center, no one can harm me. I am protected in this way. For the greater part of the time, I will have to return to human form. But again and again, it will be possible for me to become the flower. I am happy about this. For until recently, I did not know it was possible. I only knew the flower as an object. Now I know that I can also be it. Our rich offerings of flowers and wreaths of flowers at a burial not only symbolize our feelings of sympathy, but also are unconsciously a resurrection magic, a symbol for the return of the departed to a new life. Another motif that appears in death dreams is fire as the regeneration of the dead. Fire is often seen as a destructive element, but it is also purifying. Fire which either punishes, hell, or purges, purgatory, was for a long time not precisely differentiated. Origen of Alexandria, who died in 253 AD, was an early advocate of the purgatory idea. Hell for Origen is only a temporal place of limited punishment. He rejects the idea of eternal damnation. But purgatory serves as a catharsis, only for those who cannot be told. Is purgatory a
Think about how much it costs to just pay. Forget the buildings being so high. How many buildings are empty?
which
How
can
many
destroy
places are empty?
anyone?
How much it costs just for this paver here, and this guy's walking around living in a tent, and this paving here costs a fortune, and it's not even under heavy use. You know, it was total waste of money when you think about it. Could have just have a path there, path there. That money didn't need to be used here. Do you know what I mean? This land didn't need to be used here. You know, could be. You know, I just fuck it. I don't. And he's fucking living in a tent. Do you get what I mean?
The Apostle Paul refers to Christ as the eternal foundation upon which each one builds his work. Now, if anyone builds on the foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble, each man's work will become manifest, for the day will disclose it, because it will be revealed with fire, and the fire will test what sort of work each one has done. We do not know that we are God's temple, and that God's Spirit dwells in you. When I mentioned earlier with agreement informed him that life will continue in the afterlife, not Juliet peacefully prepared for death, but he could not rid himself of a certain bitterness that he must die so relatively young. There were many things he still wanted to do in this life. Then he had a dream. He saw a woman,
Oh yeah.
not yet tall. A fire was raging, which destroyed it completely. It was a terrible sight. Afterwards, he was walking through the burned up area. Everything was turned into black coal and ashes, but in the midst lay a big round boulder of red stone. It showed no trace of the fire, and the dreamer thought, that one the fire has not touched, or even blackened. The fire destroys all vegetation, but when it is over, something indestructible remains. This is the lapis philosophorum, philosopher's stone of the alchemists, the symbol of the self. Many alchemical texts explicitly state that the stone is able to withstand fire. From the very beginning of alchemy, the making of the lapis was linked with the idea of death. The prima materia, or basic material necessary to create the stone, must go through the stage of the nigredo or blackening. which is related to the alchemical operations of mortification and putrefaction seen in the decomposition of bodies and in nature, where nutrients are recycled back to the earth. After this comes the second stage, better or whitening, which purifies the soul. And finally, the third stage, the rubedo or reddening, where the opposites of sun and moon are united and where the lapis is created, putting an end to the great work. The man had to die by a catastrophe, but his innermost core, the red stone, would remain untouched. Thus, the lapis is a symbol of that form of the dreamer's existence which will continue to exist after death. The philosopher's stone was conceived as the mortal body of the dead, associated with the mummification process of the ancient Egyptians, who would bathe the corpse in natron, a naturally occurring salt. The roots of the word matron come from the Egyptian word matter, God. Thus, corpse was literally bathed in God liquid in order to become deified and eternalized. The last dream he was able to communicate before his death also involved an alchemical symbol of wholeness. Saw a great round stone in a high place, a square, and on it were engraved the words, "And this shall be a sign unto you of wholeness and oneness." He saw many vessels to the right in an urban square, and a quadrangle of trees whose roots reached around the earth and enveloped him. Through the roots golden threads were glittering. The teeth of the stone also appears in the death experience of a man killed in the war. In a state of unconsciousness from which he awakened only briefly, he saw his mother and father, that wandered with them in the mountains through a blossoming landscape. I found a large stone and turned it over. It was weightless. On the back of it, there was a large number of the most beautiful mountain crystals. They were arranged together to form something resembling a cathedral. I felt happy about it. The image of the fruit is another motif that appears in death dreams. At the end of life, there remains a fruit that will be preserved for eternity. A dying 80-year-old man dreamt a sick old plum tree
In Ireland.
in one expansion. At the edge of one bough, there are even two folding
Oh,
flames.
he looks and got a vibe about Conor McGregor about him.
The Gnostic philosopher Simon Magus taught that the universe consists of fire, of which one half creates the visible world, the other remains invisible. Compares this to the tree of life, whose visible part are the leaves, branches, trunk, etc., which will be destroyed by fire in the end. But the fruit of the tree, which is an image of God in the human soul, survives after death.
I've got to figure out a way of recording without the webcam being there.
Teaches us that appearances and actions are transformed into grain, which represents the fruits.
I don't know what I'm doing, people.
Book of Matthew is written, "By their fruits you shall know. If any man shall eat of the fruit, he shall live without hunger." This is similar to the water that grants one eternal life described by Christ. Psychologically, the fruit is the result of our efforts towards conscious realization, which seems capable of continuing to have effects after death.
Oh, what have I done wrong? I've done something wrong, people.
Your work and your life, which you have enjoyed consciously, have redeemed hundreds in generations and will have an illuminating influence upon hundreds of generations to come.
There's a way.
There exists an
How the
injustice
fuck have I done it?
suffering and pain which are consciously lived seem to have their own reward,
I'm recording.
but only beyond, as is indeed emphasized in Christianity. Thus, consciously lived suffering has a redeeming effect on the past and on the future of humanity, an effect which is exerted invisibly from the beyond or the collective unconscious. This fruit is often described as the gold fruit, the philosopher's stone, the diamond body, etc., symbolic of the unique quintessence, the goal and completion of existence. This is a remarkable take on suffering, for there is nothing worse than meaningless suffering. One France was once consulted by a woman who had a schizophrenic episode and was in an awful state. She told Von Franz, "What is the meaning of my life? I am ruined." Even the medication isn't helping me anymore. What meaning can you give to my life? Bonfrance replied, You are suffering for God. And she fully understood, and she said, Thank you, now I can live. It is the meaning of life that keeps us alive against even very unfavorable conditions. If one continues to suffer and consciously accepts this suffering and understands that one is doing something to the eternal in oneself, then one has made a conscious realization that is essential. And then, when one dies, there will be a food. Perhaps this is what the Book of Job points to. When the Second World War broke out, and when France was living in a civil defense shelter, she had to think about the possibility of immediate death. However, she wasn't afraid to die, but rather afraid of not finishing her work. At that moment, she saw very clearly that it is to accomplish one's task that is important, not so much one's personal life. The feeling that she would not die before she finished her task remained with her until she reached old age. In her 70s, she finished most of her work and was at peace with dying. She died at the age of 83. Union analyst Edward Edinger reports the following death dream from a patient. I've been set a task nearly too difficult for me. Bark of hard and heavy wood lies covered in the forest. I must uncover it, saw or hew from it a circular piece, and carve through the piece a design. Result is to be preserved at all costs, representing something no longer recurring and in danger of being lost. At the same time, a tape recording is to be made describing in detail what it is, what it represents, its whole meaning. At the end, the thing itself and the tape are to be given to the public library. This unique quintessence is to be stored in a collective library as a kind of spirit treasury, which resembles Simon Magus' idea of a heavenly barn into which the food is brought. Holger von Franz once analyzed a 29-year-old woman who was terminally ill. The cancer spread into the brain and she became unconscious. Her analyst continued visiting her and sat silently by her bed. One day, she suddenly opened her eyes and was fully conscious and told the analyst that she had dreamt of standing beside the hospital bed and the sun was shining into the room. She was feeling extremely well, as she had never felt for years. The doctor came in and said, Yes, you're cured. You can put your clothes on and leave the hospital. Then she looked back at her bed and she saw herself lying with closed eyes, dead. One day later, she died. Here, death is represented as a cure. This dream reminds one of Socrates' enigmatic last words. Crito, we owe a cock to Asclepius. Pay it and do not neglect it. Socrates invokes the only god known to revive the dead, thanking him for healing him of the sickness of life by the cure of death. The dream of the young woman conveys a similar point of view, as if it was saying that she would now at last be well and alive again. But it also tells her, unmistakably, that her body would also be dead. The image of the dark tunnel also belongs among those archetypal motifs which anticipate the course of death.
Dear.
In the East, many describe the experience as one of being in a very
I'm
heavy,
trying to see his distance from that bit there.
something had first to go through something resembling a dark tunnel before they could arrive at a new state of existence. When obliged to return to
That's
the
where he's got to
hospital,
try and get to, isn't
some of these patients report that they had to come back
he? You
to
can
their
definitely
bed
catch that.
which they departed. The dark passage is represented in dreams as a journey to the west, to the place of the setting sun. According to Bob France, the image of the journey in dreams is the most frequent occurring symbol
That's
in
overfilling, isn't it? That's flowing too much.
Egyptian mythology, where the souls complete their journey with the sun god Ra in his solar bar. The journey is
Mm.
beginning with a
Ooh. Surely this eats away at this over time and just destroys it all.
Teaching ancient and still existing cultures also point to this idea that the resurrection is at the same time something like a post-lux. Psychologically, the sun is a symbol of the source of awareness, the lowest
That's real quick.
consciousness, the meaning of life, which lies behind the widespread customs of lighting candles in antiquity and torches, and letting them burn in mortuary rooms, tombs, and graves. This is a form of analogy magic, through which new life and an awakening to consciousness is
Ooh.
brought. Describing dreams, sometimes known as there's a heavy dark spot which spreads out hands of hatred, or as a cloud which completely obliterates all being of the outer world. In the last dream of the woman who saw a flower in her active imagination, she had a black spot in her eye. This black spot was death, which darkens the eyes, to end forever to all sight of the outer world. Spirit of discouragement is related to the fact that the ego still looks too much toward the outside, at the visible world, yet sufficiently see the reality of the soul. Young woman, before dying unexpectedly during a surgical operation, dreamt that she saw a black bird in the depths of the lake. It was dead, and she felt great sympathy and wanted to dive in to save it. Her husband told her not to do it, for it is right this way. Then she saw that the eye of the bird was a diamond that shone brightly. The initial darkness in the beyond is a state of profound depression and a feeling of complete meaninglessness. This spirit of discouragement appears in many people facing death. It may serve to detach the consciousness of the dying person from the outer world, which is experienced as meaningless, futile, and unloving. This gloomy image reminds one of some of the experiences reported by Moody, in which his witnesses are said to have spent some time in a kind of in-between region, or limbo, where shadowy spirits of the dead wander about mindlessly. He writes, what you would think of as their head was bent downward. They had sad, depressed looks. They seemed to shuffle. They looked washed out, dull, grey, and they seemed to be forever shuffling and moving around, not knowing where they were going, not knowing who to follow or what to look for. They seem to be very bewildered, not knowing who they are or what they are. Another type of dreams that occur when approaching death is being visited by a stranger or burglar, that is, by someone unseen, which unexpectedly enters
That
one's
shit.
life. The
Fucking
average
nuts,
man
man.
in his mid-50s
Fucking
has had
move.
their first dream to
Live somewhere else.
he awakens in the middle of the night in bed, in a dark room halfway under the earth. A bright gleam of light streams in through the window. Suddenly he sees a stranger in the room, someone who fills him with such an inhuman, terrible fear that he awakens bathed in sweat. A year later, he was about to die from cancer of the spinal cord. A similar dream is reported from a man who died soon thereafter. I come home and close the apartment door. As I enter, I have the feeling that something is there. I look into my room and see an old man over 60 whom I have observed occasionally on the tram. He looks like death. He has come into the house as a burglar. Horrified, I run out of the house, but I cannot lock the door from the outside. So I knock at the neighbor's door and call for help. But there's no one to be seen there, and no one opens the door for me. I am all alone. I go back to my apartment, where the sinister man is still in my room. Death also appears as a wolf or dog in dreams. In Egyptian mythology, Anubis is the canine-headed god of the underworld, and among the Aztecs, Xolotl is a dark-headed god of fire, lightning, death, and misfortune, and also a psychopath. In Greek mythology, the three-headed hound Cerberus guards the gates of Hades. The night Yunus' mother died, an event of which he was not yet aware, he dreamt. I was in a dense, gloomy forest. It was a heroic, primeval landscape. Suddenly I heard a piercing whistle. My knees shook. Then there were crashings in the underbrush, and a gigantic wolfhound with a fearful gaping maw burst forth. It tore past me, and I suddenly knew the wild huntsman had commanded it to carry away a human soul. The next morning, I received the news of my mother's passing. Montfort states that the terror-filled, uncanny aspect of the other appears especially when the dreamer has yet no relation to death or does not expect it. Actually, God who brings death to man, as familiar one is with the dark side of the divine, the more negative one's experience of it will be. But the great religions have always known that death and life are part of the same divine mystery which lies behind our physical existence. Want is a typical motif in death dreams. An old woman dreamt the following. He sees a candle lit on the windowsill of the hospital room and finds that the candle soon goes out. Fear and anxiety ensue as the darkness envelops her. Suddenly, the candle lights on the other side of the window and she awakens. Clean air contains an element of momentary fear and anxiety when the light is extinguished. Then the candle dematerializes and materializes again on the other side of the window, as if it had crossed a threshold of solid glass, suggesting that life would indeed continue in the beyond. The woman did not know why, but felt at complete peace. 4 hours later, she died. Wolfram's compares this threshold to the event horizon in astrophysics, an invisible boundary surrounding a black hole. Nothing inside this can be observed from the outside, thus nothing inside that surface, even light, can escape beyond it. Thus, everything which happens within the event horizon becomes unobservable. This natural phenomenon can be used as a simile for the threshold between life and death. The dead go over into another form of existence which we cannot perceive any longer, even though they might still be present in reality just as before. They are in the event horizon and are no longer observable, although some people get, from time to time, amazing glimpses of it. The image of light appears more often than any other image in death views and it has been described as unusually bright and yet does not hurt one's eyes, or as a beautiful color unknown to us. When June had his profound visions after his NDE, his nurse told him it was as if he was surrounded by a bright glow. That was a phenomenon she had sometimes observed in the dying, she added. This presence of luminosity is like the indication of a light that exists somewhere else. Light has always been the symbol of conscious realization. That is why, when we understand something, we have to
Oh, baby.
we are illuminated and we see clearly. The alchemist Gerhard Dorn describes such light as a window into eternity, a window which opens itself to the adept as a result of his dedication to his opus. A man who was considered to have been clinically dead for 23 minutes experienced the following. I was moving very quickly toward a bright shining net which vibrated with a remarkable cold energy at the intersecting points of its radiant strands. It was like a lattice which I did not want to break through. For a brief moment, my forward movement seemed to slow down, but then I was in the lattice. As I came in touch with it, the light flickering increased to such an intensity that it consumed and, at the same time, transformed me. I felt no pain. The feeling was neither agreeable nor disagreeable, but it filled me completely. From then on, everything was different. This can be described only very incompletely. The whole thing was like a transformer, an energy transformer, which transported me into a formlessness beyond time and space. I was not in another place, for spatial dimensions had been abolished, but rather in another state of being. A certain threshold in the increase of frequency, the psychic functions which produce a perception of time and space seem to cease functioning. Jung never got tired of stressing the fact that a certain part of the psyche is not bound to the space-time category. Subject, he writes, in the deeper layers of the psyche,
Fucking dickhead.
the unconscious, there are things that cast doubt on the indispensable categories of our conscious world, namely time and space systems of telepathy in time and space is still denied only by positive ignoramuses. It is clear that timeless and spaceless perceptions are possible only because the perceiving psyche is similarly constituted. Timelessness and spacelessness must therefore be somehow inherent in its nature, and this in itself permits us to doubt the exclusive temporality of the soul. It is sufficiently clear that timelessness and spacelessness can never be grasped through the medium of our intelligence. So we must rest content with a borderline concept. Nevertheless, We know that a door exists to a quite different order of things from the one we encounter in our empirical world of consciousness. Book, The Mystery of Death, Awakening to Eternal Life, the Christian theologian Ladislaus Boros presents a final decision
Oh.
hypothesis, according to which each human being at the moment of death has to pronounce one's final decision to be in favor or against God. What is decided here subsists before eternity, since now the act becomes being, the decision becomes state, and time becomes eternity. Thus, one either rejects God's divine love, hell, or accepts it, heaven. In other words, death is a kind of judgment day, but it is really God's judgment on ourselves. On the contrary, according to alchemical symbolism, opposites are reconciled at the last moment and remain. All of the dreams of people facing death indicate that the unconscious prepares consciousness not for a definite end, but for a profound transformation and for a kind of continuation of the life process, which, however, is unimaginable to everyday consciousness. Von Francis' work answers only a few questions. It raises anew many old ones and suggests many new ones. Does survival after death continue for only a limited period of time or longer? What is meant by a timeless existence? How do the dead relate to each other? Are there any traces of the reincarnation hypothesis, etc., etc.? With the death dreams she has been able to collect, von Franz concludes that they point to something of our individuality remaining after death. Thus, our sense of individual identity that we have acquired during our lives seems to continue after death, though we don't know if it's going to continue for long. But that is one of the essential questions. What we know for sure is that the physical body is destroyed, and we also know that it seems likely that the everyday need for ego that is concerned with relatively trivial matters and the occupation of external facts disappears in death. But there is an essential or purified need that seems to be preserved, something eternal, and that is identical to the self. Conscious realization is the great mystery of life and the meaning of life. We are here on earth to become aware, to attain a high level of consciousness through the experience of suffering and duality, and what seems to be preserved is all our great conscious realizations that have illuminated us, and will continue to live on after our disappearance, the becoming good of the human species. It seems that there is an indivisibility with psychophysical universe, and in this sense, every small step that we make towards awareness is a completely universal effect. Someone solves his or her problems completely inwardly and invisibly. There's a change in the universe, and that is our task. Slowly gaze with wonder and awe at the depths and heights of our psychic nature. Its non-spatial universe conceals an untold abundance of images which have accumulated over millions of years of living development and become fixed in the organism. These images are not pale shadows, but tremendously powerful psychic factors. Beside this picture, I would like to place the
Go,
spectacle.
go, 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 foot it, man. The fuck is he doing? Let's try and do that. Just fucking zoom it down there. Look on your left. It's clear. It's lighter here than it is there. Fuck this. Get that way, man. Fucking zoom it, baby. Zoom, my man.
Sumerians were among the first to observe and record the of celestial bodies. laying the groundwork for the study of astrology, literally the study of the stars. This helped the Babylonians in Mesopotamia to create the first organized system of astrology at around 2000 BC. The astrological premise can be found in Babylonian tablets, where it is written, "Sky and earth both produce portents. Though appearing separately, they are not separate, because sky and earth are related. A sign which protects
Yes. Fuck that though. Backflip as well.
is even in the sky." Astrology studies the correlation between the movements of celestial objects and earthly events or human experience. The skies were thought to present celestial portents or omens, signs of future events tied to human stars, believed as divine messages from the planets named after the gods. The Babylonians would use these to predict future events and take action to avoid disaster. This is known as mundane astrology, which is almost only concerned with the welfare of the state and the king. Parallel to the Babylonians, the Egyptians developed their own astrology based on the decans, which are 36 groups of fixed stars or small constellations divided into 10 degrees each, used as a timekeeping method in order to perform religious rites at the appropriate time, among other things. Each of the decans would be associated with a divinity. After the Alexandrian conquest in the 4th century BC, Hellenistic astrology was mixed with Egyptian astrology and Babylonian astrology, creating natal astrology. The emphasis moved from predicting mundane events to focusing on the positions of celestial bodies at the time of a person's birth in order to provide insights into their personality and life path. Another branch that emerged later was electional astrology, which involves choosing the most auspicious or favorable times to initiate or undertake specific activities or events. The ancient stargazers observed how some stars remained fixed and others wandered, though we now know that stars are not fixed.
This is a little
They
bit.
move very slowly, so that their movement appears imperceptible to the human eye. The wandering lights came to be known as planets, a word that derives from the Greek verb planestine, meaning to wander. The ancients imagined the planets as gods wandering amongst the constellations along the zodiacal route. These planets were named after the gods. Today, our planets are named after the Roman gods. By the classical period of the Greco-Romans, the constellations that the planets passed through were being mapped out as the celestial highway known as the zodiac. Characterizing the early zodiacal signs were instinctive images embodied as animals. The figures of the zodiac are not just random and haphazard drawings, but images of the selected unconscious projected into the skies. The word zodiac derives from the Greek zodiakos kuplux, circle of little animals, which reflects the prominence of animals and mythological hybrids among the 12 signs. The Chinese zodiac has 12 animals, one of which is assigned to each year in a
See what it
repeating
does.
12-year cycle. Archetypally, magical animals are often the symbols of the self, the total personality. They are a purely instinctive unconscious force, greater and more powerful than the ego, but entirely unconscious. This circle
I don't give a fuck.
called wheel of life embodies the
I don't give a fuck.
and yet does not possess the light of human consciousness. Embedded in the zodiac is the archaic wisdom known as the seat of the soul or the temple of the spirit. We'll now be going through some of the basics of astrology. For the astrologer, the natal chart is not just a portrait of the heavens
Boring this anymore.
of one's birth, but also a snapshot of our soul's plan, and thus the most valuable tool one can have in one's possession. This blueprint of the soul contains clues to help one understand one's personality, including one's strengths and flaws. It reveals something larger than ourselves, to the cosmos, giving us a deeper sense of meaning in life. German astronomer Johannes Kepler wrote,
Oh, whatever. I don't care anymore.
"Newborn baby is marked for life,
Which I can do.
the starts at the moment it comes into the world, unconsciously remembers it, and
Fuck is that whistle?
return of configurations
Fuck is
of
that?
a similar kind.
Medals? What
The
the
central
fuck?
classical or 7 luminaries are
What?
the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. The 7 days of the week are named after these luminaries. Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto were not included. as they were invisible to the naked eye and were thus unknown to the ancient Hellenic peoples. Aspects are certain angles or degrees of separation between planets that gives us an understanding of their relation to each other in the birth chart. When two or more planets line up in the sky at certain angles, their energies are said to combine. These are studied carefully by astrologers, as it is where the main action is. Depending on the combination of planets, the aspects can have a positive or negative effect on us. The ancients had a magical symbolic sense to the
It's so
physical world
blurry.
and to the human imagination. The heavens appeared to be engraved with figures such as Aries the ram, Gemini the twins, Sagittarius the archer, etc. In the natal chart, there are a total of 12 signs in the zodiac wheel, each of which lasts 1 month and occupies 30 degrees of celestial longitude. On the other hand, there is the wheel of the 12 houses, which is based on the Earth's 24-hour rotation about its own axis. Each house represents a unique
What can you learn
systems or
when you're not
physics
watching stuff then?
wherein the energies of the zodiac
We'll save that for later.
Shall we gaze with wonder and awe at the depths and heights of our psychic nature? Its non-spatial universe conceals an untold abundance of images which have accumulated over millions of years of living development and become fixed in the organism. And these images are
Oh,
not
well.
mere shadows, but
I know him.
tremendously powerful
Dragon's Den,
psychic
innit?
forces.
Yeah.
Beside this picture, I would like to place the spectacle of the starry heavens at night, for the only equivalent of the universe within is the universe without. The relationship with the stars is thought to be as old as mankind
Oh,
itself.
fuck.
For thousands of years, our ancestors looked at the starry night sky in awe, and early knowledge of the stars can be found in prehistoric caves, bone fragments, and megalithic structures. 12,000 years old, Göbekli Tepe contains and suggests evidence of alignment with celestial events far older than Stonehenge and the Great Pyramid of Giza. And most, if not all, ancient civilizations searched for meaning in the skies and personified their myths in the constellations. The Sumerians were among the first to observe and record the movements of celestial bodies, laying the groundwork for the study of astrology, literally the study of the stars. This helped the Babylonians in Mesopotamia to create the first organized system of astrology at around 2000 BC. The astrological premise can be found in Babylonian tablets, where it is written, "Sky and earth both produce portals. Though appearing separately, they are not separate, because sky and earth are related. A sign which portends evil in the sky is also evil on earth. One that portends evil on earth is evil in the sky." Astrology studies the correlation between the movements of celestial objects and earthly events or human experience. The skies were thought to present celestial portents or omens, signs of future events tied to human affairs, believed as divine messages from the planets named after the gods. The Babylonians would use these to predict future events and take action to avoid disaster. This is known as mundane astrology, which is almost wholly concerned with the welfare of the state and the king.
I have a video that I want to watch. I think I need music.
Based on decans, which are 36 groups of fixed stars or small constellations divided into 10 degrees each, used as a timekeeping method in order to perform religious rites at the appropriate time, among other things. Each of the decans would be associated with a divinity. After the Alexandrian conquest in the 4th century BC, Hellenistic astrology was mixed with Egyptian astrology and Babylonian astrology, creating natal astrology. The emphasis moved from predicting mundane events to focusing on the positions of celestial bodies at the time of a person's birth in order to provide insights into their personality and life path. Another branch that
Music I can listen to.
was electional astrology, which involved choosing the most auspicious or favorable times to initiate or undertake specific activities or events. The ancient stargazers observed how some stars remained fixed and others wandered, though we now know that stars are not fixed.
Go on, I got nothing else to do.
The word utilized includes words and style. to wonder. The ancients imagined the planets as stars wandering amongst the constellations along the zodiacal route. Things related from the planetary of the Roman dot. By the classical period of the Greco-Roman, the calculations that the planet passed through were being mapped out of the collective highway known as the zodiac, characterizing the early zodiacal sign, where the physical images embodied by highway, particularly that the zodiac are not just winding and haphazard drawing, but images of the collective unconscious projected into the sky. The word zodiac derives from the Greek zodiakos kuplos, something of little animals, which reflects the prominence of animals and mythological hybrids among the 12 signs. The Chinese zodiac has 12 animals, all of which is assigned to each year in a repeating 5-year cycle. As hybrids, they are the animals of creativity for the self, the thoughtful personality. They are intuitively related on the type of thought, operating more powerful than the ego, but entirely unconscious. This circle of animals, or wheel of life, embodies the complete wisdom of nature, and yet does not possess the light of human consciousness. Embedded in the zodiac is the archaic wisdom known as the seat of the soul, or the temple of the spirit. We'll now be going through some of the basics of astrology. For the astrologer, the natal chart is not just a portrait of the heavens at the moment of one's birth, but also a snapshot of our soul's plan, and thus the most valuable tool one can have in one's possession. This blueprint of the soul contains clues to help one understand one's personality, including one's strengths and flaws. It reveals something larger than
I
ourselves,
wish I just
the
had some money,
galactic
mate, and I could
axis to the
fucking
cosmos,
relax and
giving
think,
us a
right, I'm gonna
deeper
learn
sense
that,
of
I'm gonna learn
meaning
this,
in
I'm gonna
life.
learn that, I'm gonna
The
put that into
German
practice.
astronomer
It's fucking
Johannes Kepler wrote,
not
"The
overexciting
soul
if
of
I
a
did get
newly born baby
just
is marked for life by the pattern of the stars,
I
as
could
the
do
moon
reaction
is
videos and
crescent
shit
to
like
the
that and
earth,
edit again.
unconsciously
So I just not
remembers it,
vibe it, you know what I
and
mean?
remains
Just want someone
sensitive
to
to
work for a bit,
alternate configurations
and then
of a
vibes
similar
up and
kind.
you know,
The
it's not
seven
genuine,
classical
you know.
planets, or seven luminaries,
It's genuine, you
are
know.
the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. The 7 days of the week are named after these luminaries. Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto were not included, as they were invisible to the naked eye and were thus unknown to the ancient Hellenic peoples. Aspects are certain angles or degrees of separation between planets that gives us an understanding of their relation to each other in the Earth chart. When two or more planets line up in the sky at certain angles, their energies are said to combine. These are studied carefully by astrologers, as it is where the main action is. Depending on the combination of planets, the aspects can have a
Some
positive
people
or
press the button
negative
and lag you
effect
out.
on
They press
us.
the button and get confused.
The ancients had a magical symbolic sense to the physical world, and to the human imagination appeared to be engraved with figures such as Aries the ram, Gemini the twins, Sagittarius the archer, etc. In the natal chart, there are a total of 12 signs in the zodiac wheel, each of which lasts 1 month and occupies 30 degrees of celestial longitude. On the other hand, there is the wheel of the 12 houses, which is based on the Earth's 24-hour rotation about its own axis. Each house represents a unique sphere of existence or human experience, wherein the energies of the zodiac signs and planets operate. The first three houses are the self, possessions, and communication, respectively. People can have the same zodiac sign, but be located in a different house. This is because one's sun sign differs from one's ascendant. There are three key signs in astrology: sun sign, moon sign, and ascendant or rising sign. When one talks about their zodiac sign, they are usually referring to their sun sign, which zodiac sign the sun was positioned at, were born, presents one's core identity or personality type. The sun spends about 30 days in each zodiac sign. The moon sign, on the other hand, spends 2.5 days in each sign. It's one's inner self or unconscious personality. Commit. By seeking the coldness of the moon, silver, one finds the heat of the sun, gold. It is the union of the albedo and libido stages, the sacred marriage of king and queen, which leads to the creation of the philosopher's stone, and our temple symbol of the sun. On the other hand, we have the ascendant, which appears at the time of your birth and location, time zone, and changes every 2 hours on average.
try the.
It refers to your first
like
house
that.
in the natal chart.
Always interesting. I'm not
The
heard of the stars.
ascendant represents your persona, how you present yourself to the world. The Christian mystic and astrologer
more for,
Max Heindel
starving.
gives us an example of two children being born in the
Certain
same
things in your
place at the same time,
Let's just say that.
having marked similarities in their lives. He writes, a Mr. Samuel Hemmings was born in the same parish in London at the same hour and near the same minute as King George III, June 4, 1738. He went into business as an ironmonger on the same day the king was crowned. He was married the same day as His Majesty, died on the same day, and also other events in the two lives resembled each other. The difference in station precluded both being kings, but on the same day when one became the monarch of a kingdom, the other also became an independent businessman. The well-known Hermetic dictum, as above, so below, is key to astrology. It is the idea that man, the microcosm, is influenced by the universe, the macrocosm. That is to say, truths about the nature of the cosmos may be inferred from truths about human nature and vice versa. The notion of seeing mythic narratives and patterns in the heavens is one of the earliest attempts to link the outer world with the inner world. The myth of astrology was, and still is, another way of comprehending the world around us. For the 16th century Swiss physician Paracelsus, astrology was a source of critical knowledge for the physician, for without this knowledge, one was not able to interpret the inner heaven or star of the body correctly, and thus effect healing for the patient. In his conception of the inner heaven, he glimpsed an eternal primordial image, which
Yeah, it's intriguing. I just can't fucking learn it. I wish I could. I'm just not excited about anything. I've learned quite a few bits and bobs. I've not learned everything fully, but I've learned enough shit. No shit. Fuck. She could be spaced out. You don't know what just happened to her. Do you know what I mean? I thought that a few times, not knowing where the fuck I am. I'm gonna shit about it in my head. Oh yeah. What the fuck? I ain't got pants on. Well, is this? Is it safe? Why is it going off? What fuck? No. We could buy that bread, but with a couple of slices less. and I wouldn't eat so much of it. Don't get me wrong, it's only half a bloomer, but it's still a quarter of bloomer that I don't need. I'd like it to be a treat. I'd have to throw some of it away. It is what it is, people. Royal bloodline. Oh yeah, baby. What the fuck? Oh. So it's good for lung. Oh shit. Mm. Oh. Mm. No, it's 12 o'clock. I'm gone. Since when has this been on here? Oh. Ooh. Oh, fucking shit. Oh. See you later, people. Don't know what I'm gonna do. I've been watching YouTube all night now. Just where I get bored now because I don't enjoy movies. I haven't got nothing to look forward to. Everybody's a dickhead that I've known in the last fucking 10 years. So my internet was my only kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? And now I haven't got a game that I'm really into at the moment. A game will come out at some point, but it needs to be an FPS competitive game, and that really limits. Do you know what I mean? Joe, stop recording yet? That's how. Nope. See you later, people. Ciao. Moaning tonight because I'm sat here and I haven't really. I'm not excited to play a game. It pisses me off. I need a game that is perfect for me that comes out and I just play it and slowly it creeps on me in a month, let's say. And that like kid like mentality might come back, you know? That's what I need. But I'm trying to think if there is any. There's some survival games coming out this year, but I haven't got time to wait. I need something to happen in the next 3 weeks. Otherwise I just gotta get out of here, man. I gotta get a van.